Hello guys, this is the Gaming Revolution here and welcome back to an all new Call of Duty video. Today, I want to discuss both Peter McCain and Gersh making a cameo appearance in Cold War Zombies and whether this could potentially be foreshadowing events we may see in Vanguard Zombies, as well as how Richtofen's son could possibly tie in, and the likelihood of seeing the infamous Victor Reznov in some way, shape or form in Vanguard Zombies. This piece of intel was added in Season 6 from Piotr, one of the lost souls in the dark ether.
I have seen many things in my travels. For all its horror, there is beauty in this deep dark ether. The crystals, they take our memories. They make us forget who we were. But our memories do not fade. They are taken from us and form something new, something magical. Orbs. I have seen many in my time here. So many memories. So many stories to tell. Memories of a Russian scientist, of an American spy. There is one orb. It is different. Special. It is like me. It can cross between worlds. It is filled with the laughter of a child. I may never learn who the child is or what happened to them, but their memories are powerful.
He references the fact that upon his travels, he has been stumbling along orbs that contain memories of those succumbed to the dark ether. Quite chilling, but also bittersweet, like we've seen with the spectral reflections, and I guess the orbs in the Tag der Toten ending, as Primis and Ultimis wish for their dreams to come true. I guess in the end, their dreams did come true in these ethereal orbs. Piotr references the fact that he came across memories of a Russian scientist that surely has to be none other than Ascension Group member Anton Gersh and an American spy that's surely Peter McCain. And that's the main thing that I want to talk about in today's video, but before we go further with that, I want to let you guys know that this video has been kindly sponsored by Ace Defender. That's a free-to-play simulation RPG masterpiece combining authentic turn-based RPG monster battles with tower defense elements, components of the idle genre, high-quality graphics of the fantasy world, and more. The game has a traditional RPG storyline for solo players with 40 plus chapters, making up nearly 2,000 levels. It features a rich storyline. A rebellion in the Dragon Clan threatens the balance of good and evil in the world. The heroine, Alapida, the Silver Dragon Princess, escaped with the Creation Crystal to the human lands. There, she awoke the Creation Crystal and summoned heroes to fight evil with your help. There are 5 hero factions: Divine, Demon, Shadow, Nature, Light, all with deep background stories. You start with 48 heroes, and there are 2 new heroes released every 2 weeks. You can level up, combine heroes, and equip gear to create a powerful lineup. There are 1x, 2x, or 4x gameplay modes to speed up or slow down the action. Expedition is the solo modes that I mentioned earlier. We then have PvE modes: explore dungeons and regions, engage in trials, level up your heroes, and collect rare items, as well as PvP modes: fight against other players within your server in Arena or across server in King's Arena with multiple lineups. So if this sounds good to you, you can check it out via the link in this video's description to claim some free rewards, including 10 Royal Recruit tickets after completing levels 2 to 8. You can use these tickets by clicking Sky City, then Tavern, then recruit 10 times in the game. So yeah, click the link and claim your free rewards today. But jumping back to our good old pals Gersh and McCain. The last time we saw Gersh was after wandering through time and space for some time upon being freed by Ultimis from the Casimir mechanism on Ascension.
Casimir mechanism safety protocol initiated. Shutting down power systems.
Ah, yes! I'm free! I cannot thank you enough for releasing me from that horrible place.
Gersh arrived at Stalingrad in the Agonia fracture Grodkrovi. In this fracture, World War II never ended and the Battle of Stalingrad continued forever. In the city, Sophia requested Primis to retrieve Gersh as part of the Ascension Protocol. As Gersh kept floating around, he constantly rambled on and on about his state of existence. After being provoked enough times, he began to recognize the crew, though he did not realize that they are not the same as Ultimis, and instead the Primis versions of the crew. crew. Gersh agreed to travel to Sophia's location, where she proceeded to extract information from him, a process that she claimed to be mostly painless. However, the process proved fatal for Gersh as he was heard screaming in agony, or at least we thought it was proved to be fatal, but it seems as though his soul or orb ended up in the dark ether. The last time we saw Peter McCain was on Alpha Omega. After Primis freed their Ultimis selves from Groom Lake in 1963, they all travelled to Camp Edward in 2025 as part of Nikolai's plan to retrieve the first half of the elemental shard. At the facility, Rushmore asked them to find and repair the Adam unit where the life force of Peter McCain was trapped in, as Peter was someone very important to humanity's future, according to the AI. Rushmore then asked the crews to retrieve an elemental orb created to obtain and safely transport a human life force. After his life force was transferred inside the orb, Peter thanked them and Rushmore for saving him, and he flew away stating he had unfinished business to attend to. When the multiverse was rebooted to a singular verse, untagged a totem, and everything else was sent into the dark ether, I guess this is what came of Gersh and McCain. Both their soul orbs ended up in the dark ether. Interestingly enough, in Vanguard Zombies, we are returning to Shi No Numa on Anfang. Shi No Numa is of course famous for a different version of Peter McCain than the one that I just described that ended up being booted into the Adams unit from the original timeline. When Cornelius Pennell attempted to send a transmission to Peter and told him to rendezvous at the Rising Sun facility, a facility controlled by Group 935 inside Japanese territory, a month later Peter jumped over the Rising Sun facility but died shortly after, hanging himself. We do know from Call of Duty's blog post that Shi No Numa and the other Anfang locations in Vanguard will feature a lot of interactable radios and dark ether runestones that contain intel recordings, further fleshing out the characters, locations, and backstory of this chapter of the Dark Ether saga. I really wouldn't be surprised if we see some sort of cameo appearance of McCain's orb in the intel or radios, considering they have just referenced him and Gersh in Cold War Zombies. It seems like the perfect setup for some throwback nostalgia on Shi No Numa. Of course, in the Prototype fracture, the demise of McCain accidentally hanging himself at Shi No Numa didn't occur. On September 13th, 1944, in this fractured universe, Cornelia, the female counterpart of Cornelius, yes, this proves that there were female versions of our main crew in other universes in the multiverse, which, I don't know about you guys, but I would love to see a female version of Richtofen. Anyways, Cornelia attempted to send a transmission to Peter to rendezvous at the abandoned Rising Sun facility. He died shortly after, jumping over the facility, but this time, he didn't end up just lying there hanging like we saw on Shi No Numa, but instead, a dimensional portal opened when Primis opened a portal to reach the Agonia fracture. It brought Peter McCain's corpse through the portal. The portal opened in the sky over Stalingrad in Gorod Krovi, and Primis used Peter's parachute to land safely in the city. Then, almost 20 years later, thanks to Broken Arrow at the request of Cornelius, Paxton Ridge recovered Peter's remains and delivered them to Camp Edward, Nevada. On June 1st, 1964, Cornelius Pennell and Dr. Hale resurrected Peter McCain using the elemental shard. Peter McCain started having dreams of giant monsters and medieval France, but the visions slowly disappeared over the next few weeks. His life force would go on to be trapped, becoming the sentient Adams robot that I mentioned earlier. So this was the final instance that we saw of Peter McCain, and I guess his orb or soul ended up in the dark ether. We also know that Gregory Weaver accidentally burnt down a house, not knowing that a boy called Samuel was inside, traumatizing Weaver and Samantha Maxis forever with guilt.
His name was Samuel, and we will forever feel responsible for his death. I gave the intel to Weaver. The intel he acted upon. That's what we're all supposed to do, right? Act on the available intel. That's just what Weaver did. Act. Unfortunately, his actions resulted in collateral damage that neither of us will ever be able to forgive ourselves for. I'm sorry. I know he is too. But I still have a terrible feeling. that the events of that day may yet come back to haunt us. I just need you to know. I am sorry.
We believe that this boy somehow got trapped in the Dark Ether as a Dark Ether anomaly opened up in time. He brought in with him his stuffed bunny called Mr. Peaks, that is now the symbol of the mystery box and has helped us out with rewards in Mauer Toten and Forsaken. Throughout the intel in Cold War Zombies, it describes a child crying and laughing when near these orbs that are the laughter of this boy called Samuel that was trapped in the Dark Ether, and his soul is now just forever stuck there.
Hello?
Hello, Sam. I'm not allowed to visit in person, but I just wanted to check in.
Before the operation tomorrow? Be there or be square.
I know I can't tell you what to do. You wouldn't listen anyway. But seriously.
I know my orders, Weaver. I assist with the infill, but then...
You stand down. We can't risk any mistakes. We both know how badly things can go south if we act impulsively.
You're talking about the boy, aren't you?
And the mother.
It wasn't your fault.
It wasn't yours either, Sam.
Thanks for calling, Weaver. I'll see you in the morning.
Goodbye, Sam.
I'll see you soon. Real soon. Weaver wants me to sit this one out, but he's not really calling the shots anymore. Maybe he never was. The director is the one who knows what needs to happen. Maybe he always has. But this is my choice. I know what must be done. If you do run into the folks at Requiem, tell them I said hello.
There is one orb. It is different. Special. It is like me. It can cross between worlds. It is filled with the laughter of a child. I may never learn who the child is or what happened to them, but their memories are powerful.
His memories are described as being powerful. It is no doubt that this will be very important to the sequel to Cold War Zombies. This boy is an integral part to the storyline moving forward. The orb is the lost soul of the child in pain. People believe that he may indeed be Eddie Richtofen's son that we see a photo of in Forsaken's ending cutscene when the director of Requiem is revealed to be none other than Eddie Richtofen. But this is currently unconfirmed at this time. We don't know for sure if this boy is the boy that Weaver killed, and only time will tell, but that would be an insane plot twist if Weaver accidentally killed his son and now Eddie is out for revenge. But that doesn't seem very Richtofen though. I think he has a much more sinister, calculated plan with Project Janus that events have been getting put in motion for quite some time. Maybe he named his son Samuel as a reference to Stullinger that Richtofen previously had an ethereal telepathic bond with in the original Ether timeline. Victus were sent into the Dark Ether but haven't been heard from since, and I do wonder if there's some kind of connection still between Eddie and Stullinger, or whatever's left of Stullinger, since he's likely mutated in the Dark Ether or perished. But we know that Eddie is basically the reason that Requiem ended up existing in the first place, and we know that he directly appointed Gregory Weaver to head, which may suggest that the boy could have been Eddie's son, and that is why he appointed Weaver, because he knew what had happened. But I don't know, as I was saying, I think there's something much more sinister with Project Janus, but that's all for another video. But I really do like the possibility of the boy potentially being Richtofen's son. Back in the day, we thought that this boy was literally Eddie himself. Most of the community thought that. We then thought that the boy was just someone irrelevant, and now we're thinking he could potentially be his son, which would be insane. So with the potential of seeing the return of McCain and Gersh, I do wonder if we could see a Reznov reference in Stalingrad/Red Star, the central hub of Der Anfang. On Gorod Crovy, also set in Stalingrad, there is a marking on one of the gravestones that reads, "Vengeance is mine, VR," referencing Viktor Reznov's revenge. With Vanguard being set in and around World War II, and it being canon to the Black Ops universe, it's a perfect opportunity to see Reznov back in the mix, even if it's just in the form of a small little Easter egg like this reference on COD Wiki, or potentially Reznov could be featured in the intel or something like that. I would love to see the return of Reznov in Vanguard, whether that is in Zombies or whether it's in the campaign. It needs to happen. We're back in World War II, it's canon to the Black Ops universe, surely there's going to be some Black Ops and World at War characters involved. Anyways, that's everything I wanted to talk about in today's video. Thank you for watching the video, and make sure to subscribe if you're not here for the latest and greatest Call of Duty news and information. So anyways, thank you for watching, and bye.